Ethan Hayes sat at an elegantly set table in the most exclusive restaurant in the city. The room was alive with laughter and clinking glasses, but Ethan, a man of immense wealth, felt curiously detached from it all. As the countdown to midnight loomed, lost in thought. Suddenly, a small voice broke through the din. "Excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you for a moment?" Looking up, Ethan saw a young girl with wide, innocent eyes and a bundle of sparklers in her hands. Dressed in a worn jacket far too thin for the chilly night, she seemed wildly out of place. His first instinct was irritation, but her next words made his heart skip a beat. "I have to tell you something. It's really important. It could save your life." Ethan Hayes, 42 years old, was the definition of success. From a humble beginning, he had built a financial empire that spanned continents. Yet, as he gazed out the window of the luxurious restaurant overlooking the city lights, he couldn't shake the hollowness that had crept into his life over the years. His wealth had brought him power, but at a cost fractured relationships, including the one with his younger brother, Liam. They hadn't spoken in years after a bitter business dispute. As Ethan stared at his untouched plate, he noticed the restaurant staff murmuring near the entrance. A little girl, no older than 8, had slipped past the hostess. She clutched a small bundle of sparklers, her cheeks flushed from the cold. Ignoring the disapproving glances of the diners, she weaved her way through the tables, her determination unwavering. When she reached Ethan's table, she stood there silently for a moment, clutching her sparklers. "What do you want?" Ethan asked, his tone sharper than he intended. The girl flinched but held her ground. "Please, sir, I'm selling sparklers to help my grandma. She's very sick, and we can't afford her medicine." Ethan sighed. "I'm sorry, but I'm not interested. You shouldn't be here." The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't leave. "It's not just about the sparklers," she said softly. "I need to tell you something. It's important. Something bad is going to happen if you don't listen." Ethan leaned back in his chair, skeptical. "And what could you possibly tell me that's so important?" The girl took a deep breath, her small hands trembling. "It's about your brother, Liam." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. How did this girl know about Liam? He studied her carefully, searching for a trick or deception, but her expression was earnest. "What about my brother?" he asked, his voice tight. The girl hesitated. "You need to find him tonight, before midnight. Something bad will happen if you don't." Ethan shook his head. "This is ridiculous. Who sent you? Did someone put you up to this?" "No one," the girl insisted. I get these feelings. Dreams sometimes. They always come true. And I saw you in one of them. You were sad and lonely, and something terrible happened to your brother because you didn't try to make things right." Ethan stared at her, torn between disbelief and a gnawing sense of unease. It had been nearly a decade since he had spoken to Liam. Their falling out over a failed business venture had left them both bitter. But the memory of their bond as kids, when they'd dreamed of conquering the world together, still lingered in the back of his mind. "Where is he?" Ethan asked finally. The girl's face lit up with relief. "I don't know exactly, but I think you do. Please, sir, don't wait too long." Ethan sighed and stood, throwing on his coat. "If this is a waste of time, I'll find you again," he said, though his tone lacked malice. The girl nodded solemnly. Guided by a gut feeling he hadn't trusted in years, Ethan drove to the last address he had for Liam, a modest apartment on the outskirts of town. As he knocked on the door, the faint sound of the countdown to midnight echoed from a television inside. The door creaked open, and there stood Liam, thinner and wearier than Ethan remembered. His once vibrant eyes now held a shadow of despair. "What are you doing here?" Liam asked, his voice hoarse. Ethan hesitated. "I don't know, to be honest. I wanted to see you. To talk." Liam's expression softened, but his posture remained guarded. "It's been 10 years, Ethan. Why now?" The words caught in Ethan's throat. "Because I made a mistake. Because I've missed you. And because someone told me I'd regret it if I didn't." Liam's brow furrowed. "Who told you that?" A little girl, Ethan admitted, feeling foolish. She said something bad might happen if I didn't come tonight. I didn't believe her, but now I'm here, and I don't think I can leave without making things right. For a moment, silence hung between them, broken only by the distant sound of fireworks signaling the arrival of the new year. Finally, Liam stepped aside, allowing Ethan to enter. They talked for hours, revisiting old memories, airing grievances, and slowly rebuilding the trust that had been shattered. When Ethan left that night, he felt lighter than he had in years, as if a weight he hadn't realized he was carrying had been lifted. The next day, Ethan returned to the restaurant, hoping to find the mysterious girl and thank her, but the staff had no record of her ever being there. Frustrated but determined, he asked around the neighborhood and eventually learned about Mia and her grandmother, who lived in a small, run-down house nearby. When Ethan arrived, he was greeted by an elderly woman with kind eyes. "You must be Mr. Hayes," she said. "Mia told me about you." Ethan explained how Mia had helped him, and the woman's eyes filled with tears. "You may not remember, but I worked for your family when you were a boy," she said. "Your parents were always kind to me, and Mia has always had a gift for knowing who needs help." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Ethan offered to pay for the grandmother's medical expenses and ensure Mia had the support she needed to thrive. Ethan's life changed that New Year's night, not because of his wealth or status, but because of the courage of a little girl who reminded him of what truly matters. The bonds of family, the power of forgiveness, and the kindness of strangers can transform lives in ways we never expect. If this story moved you, please take a moment to reflect on the people in your life who might be waiting for a phone call, a visit, or even an apology. And if you believe in the power of second chances, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a little inspiration. Until next time, remember love and kindness are the greatest gifts we can give, and it's never too late to make things right.